Tom Pohlman, are you ready for your 10 questions?
Let's go, Jeff.
I've been really looking forward to this. Here we go. Question number 1. If you had to choose between the two, which one would you pick? Batman's utility belt or a fanny pack?
Oh, Batman's utility belt. Absolutely. It's cooler.
It's cool. What makes it cooler?
It's got a little pockets in it, and it shows. It's a show thing, so I can show people it, and people can go, "Oh wow!" when they see it. Fanny pack is like, ugh, bleh.
You're saying the utility belt is a status symbol versus the
Absolutely.
fanny pack is like,
Exactly. And I'm
love
Batman.
that.
And if I have one, I'm Batman. So there's that.
Can you do the voice?
I'm Batman. That's all I got.
Hey, have you ever watched the videos of Bat Dad? I'm Bat Dad.
Yes.
I think it's-
Yes. With that goofy mask that he has. Yeah. And his wife
Yes.
throws things at him. Yeah.
Yeah,
And his kids are, yeah. He hasn't really done some new ones recently. The kids are all very young in the videos, and they're not aging any. So
Yeah, I don't think they'd be
That's
as
all right.
excited about it. I know my kids aren't excited. Anyway, okay, question number 2.
I'm Batman.
What is your favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption is my favorite. It's the first one
Really?
that comes up. I just enjoy the characters. To me, it's the perseverance of Andy Dupree as he goes through just years and years and years and years in order to figure out how to get out of there, and the fact that ultimately he succeeds. So it's a feel good at the end, and I like movies that have a feel good ending.
Yeah, Lord knows we need those.
Absolutely.
Holy cow! So the persistence and the success, the payoff.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Well, how about question number 3? What is your favorite quote?
The first one that pops in my brain is my former boss of mine always said, "Don't let the monkeys run the zoo." And it was in reference to making sure that both stakeholders and my employees are not the ones who are determining direction. That we have a plan and that we execute against the plan, not against the crazy stuff that pops up that people on any given day claim or push. But don't let the monkeys run the zoo has to do with find what you want to do, go in the direction that you want to go, and the direction that's defined. And all the little pieces pop up, ignore them. Keep
Nice.
going.
Stay the course.
Stay the course.
Don't get distracted. Don't throw poop at the wall.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's always a PC quote, but that is something that is, comes up. I'm just like, yeah, let's just, and I had to use that quote somewhere else this week recently. So it's like, settle down, folks. We're running in the wrong direction.
Keeps coming back. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad that it is useful and practical.
Yep.
So this is kind of a similar question. Question number 4 is, what is the best advice you have ever received?
Best advice I ever received was actually during my divorce in 2000, many years ago from my first wife, and it was pick a dollar amount that you are willing to fight for. Anything above it, fight for. Anything below it, let it go. So that you don't fight over everything, that in any kind of transaction with anyone, this is true, that you have a threshold at which you're willing to fight, at which point you just say, if that's what you want, you can do that. There's a level of that, and understand those along the way. And in that case, it was just an easy one of, well, she said, I want the couch. Fine. That's not the number I'm going to fight for. It's not worth having a fight over every penny.
Right.
Pick a number, take that number, move on after that.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like choosing your battles, picking your battles.
Yeah.
Getting really clear about your expectations and needs, and not getting distracted.
Yeah, and a lot of, divorces, often will always end up at some level about money, and it's just deciding that threshold that you're willing to fight with. And I had a pretty high threshold, and that made the divorce, and I believe she did as well. And that made the divorce pretty easy and pretty amicable in that process.
That's good. Thanks for sharing, man. I would like to throw the switch and go back in time even further, way back before 2000, to your childhood, Tom. What was your favorite childhood toy?
Bicycles, which is a theme, of course, in my
I'm
life.
shocked.
Yeah, bicycles. I don't know. I like, maybe it's the speed, maybe it's control, maybe it's just an ability to get around because of that.
Yeah.
And it just bicycles were a part of my life as a kid. Even other riding things. So maybe it's a big wheel, maybe it's this little scooter bike that I had. And I can still remember all the bicycles I've ever owned.
Well, that was going to be my follow-up. Is there a bicycle that stands out? Be like, oh my gosh, I was 8. I had this blue bike. It had this. You could do this with it. Is there a bike that stands out for you?
I got a bike for Christmas probably when I was 7 or 8, maybe. That was, I don't know how it got to my grandparents' place because they lived in Buffalo and we lived in Pittsburgh. So it was in Buffalo.
That's a long bike ride for
could be a long bike ride, right? And it was, if I remember correctly, it was purple. It had those high handlebars and it had like a banana seat. This is 1974, so yeah, it was. So that's just my first bike that I remember having. And after that, I had and that was a single speed. Then I had a multi-speed bike, and then I got a 10-speed, and then I bought myself a 10-speed, and since then I bought myself 3 or 4 more other bikes.
I know that you bike. I did not realize it had roots that went back.
I didn't really until you said favorite. I'm like, I don't know what other favorite. That's the thing that popped in my head.
Yeah. Thanks.
Did I have other things? Absolutely. Was that a favorite? Yeah, it's a consistent one.
That's one that rises to the top.
There you go.
Like cream. Or frog. Okay. So, thinking about your childhood self, there you are, on the purple bike, in a state not where you live, riding. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I was going to be an artist in a graphic design kind of firm, and I was going to move myself up to be the premier person in that firm, doing artwork. So
wait, okay, so as a kid you're like, I want to do art, and then I want to manage everybody else doing art?
Yeah, or I don't know about the managed part, but just to be the guy. We all want to be the guy. When we were kids, we just want to be large and in charge. And it wasn't that I was in managing them. It was more that they all looked to me to say, I'm the guy. I'm doing the best work. This is the guy that does the best work.
You're doing, yeah. So what are we going to do? We're locked into the moon's gravitational pull. We'll call Tom. Tom will save us.
How are we going to solve this creative problem? This client needs a brand new thing. A brand new advertising campaign. How would we do this? Tom's the guy to do it.
That's awesome.
That was high school kind of moving on. So, I have a degree in fine arts. I have a degree in graphic design. So hell, that was my idea of what I would do when I grew up.
Well, I think this is another reason why we get along, because of the creative background.
Yeah.
And just for the record, for anybody watching, we're locked in the moon's gravitational pull. What do we do? Is a quote from a movie, The Last Starfighter. So it's not totally random. It does fit, sort of. Okay.
I've been reading, or I'm friends on Facebook at least, with Calvin and Hobbes. So there's a whole fan group for Calvin and Hobbes. He gets into, every once in a while he goes off in these things of, he's imagining these spaces and the aliens are attacking him, etc. And the aliens always end up to be his parents or his teacher, that are in his way. So when you said that was my first place my brain went, was Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin and Hobbes. I like Calvin and Hobbes. I used to read him a lot.
I used to as well, and then so now this has brought it back. So people post stuff to that site all of the time. I must read 10 or 12 cartoons a day from him. They're starting to repeat, but they are just funny.
Well, that is an excellent segue to the next question.
It's like you're professional or something.
This is not my first rodeo. What brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Right now, it's other people's success. Watching people succeed, particularly my team members, watching their confidence grow and watching them, provide feedback to me of, hey, this thing happened and now I'm doing this. I push them, and part of why I push them is to see them grow and see them make those leaps. I got a note today of somebody took one exam they had recently, and look, I passed. This was great. I'm like, this is awesome. I mean, I think it's really neat to see them stretch themselves and try different things and realize that I've pushed them in that space, but I've allowed the room for them to succeed. I've also allowed the room for them to fail. That they feel comfortable in trying things out, and they're comfortable in giving me feedback and telling me things, that they're going to tell me about their success, because it's something that we can share.
I love that. That's the psychological safety, for your people to be able to go out there to lead, succeed, or fail without worry of judgment from you, so that when they do go out and do something, they feel empowered to come back and celebrate with you. That's amazing.
Yep.
That's an air five. Okay, so let's flip it. What brings you dread?
Challenging conversations that I don't know how people will react.
Like this one?
Sure. Like this one. Both sometimes overthought on my part, but sometimes also that I'm going to bring up a topic that I really don't know how somebody's going to respond. And so I don't know which direction to be thinking about or how to lead this conversation somewhere. It may be that what I need out of it is just an acknowledgement, but sometimes I'm opening some cans of worms, and I don't really I don't know. Those are the ones that I'm most fearful of. I'm least, I'm not so concerned about things that come up just randomly, because that is just a general reaction. I tend to think too much. It's the things that I sit down and sit on too long that I actually seem to dread the most. If I just do it, it's just done. It happens, and that's when I just overthink the damn thing. That it becomes a big dread and just carries me.
Well, and that makes so much sense, given how much you care about other people, and you want other people to succeed. You want to do it right. You want to do your best by people. So, given the time to sit there and think and mull and stew like that, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Too much time spent in that space. Yeah.
Well, then let's not spend any more time here. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 9. We're only two from the end. Question number 9. What do you want to accomplish but cannot do on your own?
I don't know. I don't know, because how to describe it in a small enough box. I like to see. Well, I'm going to give it in a big, broad sense. I like to see more peace in the world. Does that make sense? I like to see people I like to see people be more accepting of each other. I just see a lot of. I see challenges at work. I see challenges in personal life. I see challenges in the world in general, where we just are frustrated because people don't do what we want them to do. They should all do this. They should all do that, because that's what I want them to do.
Great.
Come on. It's just we all have different opinions and different ways in expressing them, etc. Can we just let people live their lives? Choose the people you like, and if they do what you like, then you can go with them. If they don't, leave them alone. I don't know. That's not something I can make a difference of by myself. I think that's a lot of people have to start thinking that way. And I'm finding it's more and more that it's either people are really stuck in believing that what they want is most important. And the answer is no. In fact, together we need to do something. We can be better if we work together. However, it's going to take all of us to make that determination. So, I don't know. That's an esoteric answer to your question.
I'll take it. There's no wrong. Esoteric answers are acceptable.
Okay. I will spin up a new story then. Good.
I really appreciate you sitting in that for a second and thinking about it and giving me an answer, because that's a really big thing. I mean, given everything that you've got, everything that you've said already, everything that I know about you, going for that peace and the acceptance and just general collaboration and people getting along with each other, you're right. It's not a switch that we can flip. It makes sense that you would really desire that. And I love the fact that you're actively engaged, because of what I know you outside of this interview, that you're intentionally trying to make that kind of offer to the people in your life so that they too can live in that level of peace and acceptance, and really a welcoming environment. So thanks for doing that.
Cool.
Last question number 10. Here it comes, the Big 10. What do you hope, Mr. Tom, that people will say about you after you're gone?
That he cared. That's all I got.
Well, okay, then that's a wrap. Oh, come on, can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
That people felt cared for, meaning that I gave a damn about them and where they were in the world, but also that I cared about the work that I'm involved in, both as people and a deliverable. That it shows in what is left after I'm gone, and that pattern is picked up by others. That they carry on a legacy.
Legacy of care. I like it. I like it, and I like you, Tom. Tom, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for answering my top 10 questions for this More Moments interview. You were fantastic.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.